Over the next decade, property taxes could climb by nearly 44%. That's according to a report from City of Edmonton administration. City Council heard that these increases will be needed to maintain current service levels in a growing city. Well, Mike Elliott is the councillor for Ward pihêsiwin, and he joins us in studio now to talk about this. What were some of your biggest takeaways from this report?
We're looking at looking at 10 billion over the term for that's missing for core functions, and that's staggering, and it is something that I think we all should be concerned about.
Did it shock you a bit to hear that number, that over the next decade, property taxes could climb nearly 44%?
Yes, it did, because when I was door knocking in this most recent, the only election that I've been in, it was one of the primary items that was brought to the forefront was taxes, and people talked about cost of living. And a case in point, there was I spoke to one woman who was retired for about a decade, and she said, Mike, due to the property tax increases on my home, I'm now going back to work at age 72. And that's one example of many Edmontonians who are struggling out there. So just a day-to-day living with inflation, et cetera, that's hard.
And the increase in these taxes is attributed to this idea that there's a need to maintain current service levels. So what could be done then to lower these numbers that we don't see such a huge tax increase?
Zero-based budgeting. Do we ask every avenue within administration to show us that the money that you require is a necessity? Do we start looking at what are the core functions that are required for the city? Because it's a necessity, or is it a want or a need? I'm really concerned and afraid that we will get to a point that we don't have the non-residential tax coming in. Case in point, we're sitting in City Centre Mall, and this is a massive area, and it brought in significant number of shoppers, tourism, and tax dollars. And with this going in receivership, that's a major hit. And so we need to look out at areas that we can actually pause and reassess to see what can we do in the long run.
But has it been enlightening to you to just see how many pockets the city is a part of, all these different things that do come under the umbrella of funding to make this city work and go?
100%, because I think people often think, well, that's a federal jurisdiction or that's a provincial jurisdiction. And in actual fact, it's a municipal jurisdiction. We have our finger on the pulse on almost everything that occurs in this city. And it's so difficult knowing that we have so many people coming asking for help. And there's areas that want to help, but what does help usually equate to? Dollars. So it's really coming time that we have to hit hard. And what does it mean hit hard? It's just like at your home. If you're not paying your mortgage, you're not paying your bills, and you're getting collectors coming after you in some way, shape, or form, you really have to buckle down and go, where do we need to cut and save? And I find as a city, as an administration, we have to do the same things right now, or we're going to face this daunting potential tax bill that's going to hit every Edmontonian.